An eventful innings, if there ever was one. In the course of 20 overs, so much seemed to happen. But after all that, it seemed that Bangalore have got themselves into what appears to be close to a par-type total. 164 for 7 at one stage, with Maxwell going well, Kohli and Padikkal going well earlier. It looked like maybe 180 was even on the cards. And then when wickets fell in a clump, could Punjab have kept them down to lower than this? So at the end, it seems to have all averaged out. Look at that surprise package over there. 3 for 12 in 4 overs for the man born in Portugal. We'll come back to that and so much more in this first half on Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I'm in the company of Joy and Shaun Pollock. First up, Shaun, your reaction to that total 164. Are we saying it's around par?
No, I actually think it's better than par. I know we talked about the surface maybe playing better. Did it play better? Slightly, I think a little bit. But the fact that HENRIQUES can run up and hit that area and really make life as difficult as it was. I mean, it's just this ball tailing back. It seems the odd one stayed low and was difficult. A lot of balls hitting the bottom of the bat. So I don't think it's a great surface. Slightly better, yes. I think the partnership of Maxwell and de Villiers there was so important. Those last 4 overs before the AB got out and Maxwell got himself out as well. I think that little partnership and the impetus of it, there you go, 73, 40 balls. I think that has been the key inning. All the guys even spend a lot of time at the crease when you've got de Villiers, Padikkal, Kohli and Padikkal, who were there for a period of time. It didn't seem to get much easier for them, but just those 2 individuals seemed to make it look a little bit easier, and they are both unique. Maxwell in great touch, and AB, as we know, is a unique player. So I think a bit above par. I think 150 was definitely the right call. So they're about 14 more.
Yes, that of course was where our pre-match predictions were. 150, 165, and Joy were just a little bit higher, and they were well on course for getting there towards the end had it not been for Shami coming and taking 2 crucial wickets in that last over.
Yeah, congratulations first for getting it right. 165, 160 was very, very good. But 2 brilliant things about this innings, and that's that, I mean, look, this is an innings of very strange contrasts. I mean, this is one innings where the scorecard is actually not telling you anything, because Shami has got those 3 wickets to his name. He's got 2 wickets. He's bowled well. But Shami and Arshdeep have bowled badly in this match. They didn't get their lengths right in this match. They were pitching it up far too up for them to get anything, because exactly what Shaun was talking about, HENRIQUES just kept his length a little lesser, allowed the ball, some balls would stick, some balls wouldn't stick, and the batsmen were mistiming everything. Moment they were pitching it up, these guys had an opportunity to hit it. And that's the big difference. So if Shami and Arshdeep had bowled better, then they would have had a chance. And I think Maxwell batted out of his skin. His job there is to target the spinners, but the way he targeted it, it's very easy to say target spinners. But, it's not as if Virat Kohli can't hit the ball or any of these other guys can't hit the ball. To hit the ball consistently the way he did, that 57 of 33 is absolute gold. So I think it's a combination of 2 factors. I think the balancing factor was that HENRIQUES bowled very well, but the other 2 pacers, Arshdeep and Shami, will look at and Shami will look at his analysis and also say, that's not really a great bowling performance. I mean, I got a lot of wickets in the end because they were trying to battle me behind square, but, that's not a great bowling performance from there.
So that is where I think things averaged out. When Arshdeep has a really off day, you'd imagine the opposition could have travelled for many, many more runs, but that spell from Moises Henriques really kept them in check. Those 2 wickets in a clump, him on a hat-trick, and him not having played in the tournament so far, Shaun.
Yeah, I think the fascinating thing for me was, Bish who was giving us the facts and figures. What did he bowled? No overs in the Big Bash last season, only 4 overs the year before, and I think 5 the year before that. So it just shows you he's shifted what he does for New South Wales. He becomes a batter, and it's of key importance. But not 1 boundary. And in fact, the worst damage that was done off a delivery was 2. So that's just simply brilliant. And I think the key to his performance is, as Joy and I have touched on, is the lengths he hit. Arshdeep and Shami, I think they missed the plan, because when you've got a surface that is holding up, you've got to use that facility to your advantage. New batsmen to the crease in the last 2 or 3 overs, when they come in, you can't be bowling Yorkers that end up as full tosses. So basically, you don't use the facility at all. You need to be hitting back of a length, because the person who walks to the crease when you're hitting back of length and tries to hit you from ball one will not be able to get it away. It's almost impossible to do so. So to continue to go for the Yorker options and end up with full tosses was just freebies for them to hit. And I think the decision making there was poor. But I think he showed that even though you don't have to bowl, if you just have the right game plan on the surface, you can be effective.
I think that was the key. New bowler, right game plan. A little strange to see Bishnoi coming back suddenly at the end. You just thought they had put the brakes on. Didn't have his greatest day either, Joy Bishnoi, along with, of course, Arshdeep. But I was a little surprised that he came on when he did towards the end for that one more over.
Hey, he didn't do badly there. Actually, if you look at it, he gave away 8 runs. He didn't do badly out there. I thought Bishnoi was very, very unlucky. I mean, 3 dismissals, 1 taken away by the umpire, and 2 dropped catch, 1 dropped stumping, 1 dropped catch. That analysis does not do justice to the bowling he did. His is what I call the mirror image of Shami's performance, because Shami got the wickets, Bishnoi got nothing to show for it, but I thought Bishnoi bowled much, much better. Harpreet bowled well, Bishnoi bowled well, Moses Henriques bowled well. For once, it's their frontline pacers that have left Punjab down, but it's one of those games where, which team is making more mistakes? Other than Maxwell and to a certain extent Henriques, who just kept his length and kept it simple, nobody else has had an outstanding performance. I mean, every time, the others have just not failed to get. I mean, you look at Virat Kohli with a start like that, ending up on 25 for 24 balls. I mean, Devdutt Padikkal similarly. You had the start, they got early runs, and they just got themselves paradoxically bogged down. So none of them could go forward. I think it's just one phenomenal performance by Maxwell that's given them that extra 15 runs.
And that tends to happen in this format of the game. But if you really have to look at the villain of the piece as far as this 20 overs is concerned, and while we don't like to necessarily jump on and criticize an individual, you have to question, Shaun, and Joy and I talked about it in Cricbuzz Combox, that flatline mention on the third umpire call. It's one thing for an on-field umpire to purr, they're human. But when it goes upstairs, you've got technology. You have to call what you see. And the world saw one thing, the third umpire saw something else.
Yeah, and I think you also need to understand the difference between a hard wood sound that is a bat makes quite a sharp spike, but if it just nudges the glove, it's very soft. So that's going to make a seriously soft sound. So there was something. I was very surprised to see it not go that way. And I suppose only he would really be able to explain it to us. If he's thinking that maybe a small squiggle is something that's being created by the foot sliding or something else making contact with the pad, I don't know what it could be, but it just did seem to be a slight little brush on the glove. So yeah, I was pretty surprised as well. Not surprised you guys were discussing it.
Credit to KL Rahul though. Obviously, he asked the question. He politely walked up to the on-field umpire and said, we saw. We normally can't read lips, but we saw exactly what he said. He said, which simply meant, I saw the squiggle on the big screen. What about it? And the umpire said, well, not my call. And KL just said, fair enough.
I mean, what can this umpire do? I mean, he would have been equally surprised looking up there and seeing the squiggle out there. And the bat is in the air. It's not even that the bat has a chance of brushing the ground to give you that kind of a sound out there. The bat is high in the air. So the only sound can either be from there or from foot movement. And the odds that your feet are moving at exactly the same time to give you exactly the thing. I mean, I just thought, I reiterate again, I think it's a lack not of technique, but of common sense. There's either a touch or there's no touch. If there's a touch, you're out. If there's no touch, you're not out. It's binary. And, I think this umpire was trying to look at it degrees. It's not enough. It's not. Any touch is enough. All you have to prove is whether there's a touch or not. And in binary decisions like this, anything diverging from that line is an out. So, yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, but that's what it is. We've discussed it at length, and hopefully at some point in time, the feedback will get back to the umpire and the right decision will be made. Let's now talk about the Bangalore boys. And no, I don't mean the players playing for Bangalore. I mean the Bangalore boys, as in Rahul and Mayank Agarwal, who will be, of course, playing for the Punjab franchise when they walk out to try and chase this total down against the boys who play for Bangalore. Shaun, it's going to be important for them with these runs on the board, which, as you said, are slightly more than should have been. That partnership again will be invaluable, the two friends getting together.
Yeah, huge. And I think the power play is where they're going to make the play. We saw even in the last game, I think that they played here, they got off to a fast start and then both got themselves out in quick succession. But we even saw Padikkal and Virat Kohli, they got going and their strike rate actually probably came down once that first 6 overs was done and dusted. So the real opportunity for them is to try and get things going at the top in that first 6 with the fielding's restrictions, and then try and play accordingly to the plan afterwards. It's not going to get easier. Only Maxwell was a guy who tended to make it look easier the more time he spent at the crease. But in general, anyone who comes to the crease after them is going to struggle. So even the fact of them, one of them batting through will be vitally important if they are to chase this down.
And we saw the graphics there, Joy, every single time. That one match when Mayank was out with a stiff neck. Other than that, Rahul got runs in that game. But the two of them, when they've come together, they deliver every single time.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for them, given this kind of a pitch, that first 6 is even more vital. And I was just looking down the rest of the batting out there. And I was just thinking that if you look at this kind of pitch, the way this pitch is, the 3 batsmen after these 2 who could be vital for them, and this is not an Aiden Markram kind of pitch. I'm sure he can play very well on it. But this is a pitch for somebody like a Pooran who changes position very fast and has really high bat speed. If he can do something like what Maxwell did against their spinners, because that's what's going to happen. In the middle overs, it's going to be Chahal and Shahbaz Ahmed and all these guys going for a throat. And somebody who moves very fast in the crease, has high bat speed. Pooran is vital today. Pooran ever needed to give them runs, it's there. And, on a pitch like this where lots of tickles and, balls here and there, if Sarfraz Khan comes off, this is the kind of pitch that suits the kind of game that Sarfraz Khan plays. Little edge here, little dolly here. He plays a very tricky game, and this is not a game where he's going to be able to stand and slog it out of the ground. And I think that's why I think the openers and Pooran are, for me, the vital parts of this. And because Pooran has that ability to do what we saw Maxwell doing, Pooran can do that. But can he deliver today or not is the question.
One more cog to finish off, Shaun. We saw the batting order. That's the prospective batting order over there. But Moses Henriques down at 7. Something tells me that A, after his bowling performance, and B, after where he generally tends to bat these days, you want him higher up?
Yeah, that would be a big surprise if he came in. I was actually just, when I was looking at the graphic, I was thinking to myself, surely he doesn't come into that position. I mean, I think he bats 3 in the Big Bash. So I'd be very surprised. I think maybe Pooran might be the one who floats a little bit. It might go. I think what they've tended to do is Markram, particularly if they lose an early wicket, and then maybe Hendricks and then Pooran after that. But it'll be interesting to see how the initial chase goes as to how they adapt. It's going to be a big ask for him as well, not having played much, to come onto a slower surface and just be able to try and play shots, particularly growing up in a place like Australia where the ball tends to come on. It's the big adjustment that every single one of the South African, England or Australian, New Zealand cricketer has to make going to the subcontinent. Just that ball holding up. What is your plan? So we're interested to see how he goes, but I'm sure he won't be 7.
And the only other man in the in that top 7 we didn't mention was Shah Rukh Khan. Enough from that last game to show that, he was like, I should have been there all along. Did enough. He will also play a part, Joy.
Yeah. I thought the couple of shots he was hitting, he was cruising. He was absolutely cruising. He got the bat right. He just got the contact. And I think he can play a large part out.
Certainly can. That's where we are. Just a quick reminder. The chase, we feel just a few runs over par. But let me get both Shaun and Joy as we finish off here. At this stage, with just one ball having been bowled, Which camp are you leaning towards, Shaun?
Yeah, for me, I think it should be too much. I think 164 should be too much, but I'm glad I'm coming on at the box because I might be able to adjust things if they get off to a good start with these openers. Then I can say, oh, no, they're on track. They're on track. But I think the key is these two openers.
All right. So Shaun is still leaning towards the fielding side, defending it. Joy?
I'm going to go with Punjab today. And let's see where it goes.
So fair enough. 1-1 over there. I just have a feeling that this could quite be chased down. This could be chased down. But yeah, the openers will be very critical to it. And I think we'll have a little fun discussion on Combox to see if we're changing our tune at the moment. Over to KL Rahul, over to Mayank Agarwal, and of course, over to Virat Kohli to try and orchestrate his bowlers the right way. That's all we have. We'll come back with much more, of course, in the Combox 10th over. And with much more to discuss as part of our double header on Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle.